And we're back. Okay, so TAKful Creator here. May God the Creator bless us. May God the Redeemer heal us. May God the Holy Spirit enlighten us. Give us eyes to see, ears to hear, and hands to do the work of God. Feet to walk the path of justice, and mouths to preach the good news. May the angel of peace, prosperity, love, abundance, guidance, grace, mercy, healing, and I want to say true divine romance. That's so weird. Lead us to the reign of God. Ashe. Alright, so why do I maybe want to say that? Well, in our previous reading, we spoke about this death and rebirth process, right? And a certain masculine energy that if you want to go back to that reading, it will be attached to the end of this. I'll try to add it somewhere here so that you can see firsthand on why this energy is now taking place. Okay, so this is present energy, and what we talked about in the last reading is the present energy could be like an hour ago, 2 hours ago, yesterday, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 years ago, like, but as you're listening to this reading, this is the present moment, okay? And that previous reading is talking about all those crazy details of how we got to this moment. Alright, so we saw that there's someone that is being a caregiver of children, right? But there's some kind of repulsive energy, maybe because of a date night, and someone subtweeting a certain celebration that was supposed to come off in a pure divine light, like this white light in like a front, side, or backyard. I don't have a nature card yet, so this is kind of like what I mean by nature. It could be like the park, or a waterfront, the forest, or like if you have a front yard, side yard, or backyard, it could be one of those two. And just know that during this excursion, right, because we're going to say excursion because we see the hurt frequencies jumping up in the background, and then y'all, you know my voice. Every time with these readings, the throat chakra attacks, okay? So just bear with me. So this very blue healing that we have here. And this blue healing is like up in the clouds, being super meta, understanding the bigger picture of things, and seeing that the minor details that spark feelings are triggers from unhealed past. And what we're called to do here is to rise above it. Kind of like in this cloudy airiness, right? Call blue. Not 911 per se, but the version of blue and white, like when you look at the sky, a very clear sunny sky. Okay, why? There was a divine test that was taking place. This divine test is what this death and rebirth process is all about. Okay, this death and rebirth process for this new beginning. There was a lot of hate being thrown. Why? Something about the colloquialisms you see on TV, the dynamics you see on TV, and maybe trying to replicate that in real life, or not being able to replicate that in real life, or TV saying certain things that could potentially hurt your feelings, right? The show just happens to be on TV, and you're like, oh, let me watch it. And then while you're watching, the whole show is telling you about a situation you were just a part of and how you didn't do everything you were supposed to do, right? So that's very similar to what this reading is. You can think of this as like a TV streaming service where you can see that although this is for entertainment, it very well could teach you a valuable lesson in another situation. So go and do in that situation in the proper way so that you can be given, you can be offered the prosperity and abundance of this new beginning, right? After this death and rebirth process, which is imminent for everyone. This is the constant cycle of ascension. In order for you to level up, you have to have a death and rebirth process. And you're constantly going to be given divine spiritual tests to see if you learn the necessary backing, the prerequisites, in order to continue on your ascension schedule, right? So we have some kind of thief of joy, some kind of energetic or emotional thief of joy, and we can attribute this to the TV streaming services, maybe this reading, letting you know, like, you know, there's a little bit more that you could be doing here. Now, the reason why you're not happy is because of your lack of effort. What is this lack of effort? Removing this hate in your heart. We have this from romantic thriller to cartoon, from romantic thriller to cartoon. Where is the pure divine love? It can't be that if you're constantly in this karmic energy. You have to reside in, and not to say, even if you're a Scorpio, you have to embody certain energies in order to balance your own nature. Right? You know, no one walks into this world, oh, we're balanced. No, you walk into this world understanding what you need to do to offer yourself balance. So in constantly living in this karmic state where it's tit for tat, you do something, I do something, you do something, I do something, you did something twice, I do something twice. Like, now it's, let's remove this devil energy, right? That could be seen by constantly pushing karma, which could be living in a revolving cycle, which we talked about in the previous read, living in a revolving cycle that doesn't offer the rebirth process. It's constantly a death and waking up again in the same cycle. No. You're supposed to have a physical death, the person that you are, and then be reborn as a new person. That's why I say physical instead of theoretical. Because people are just like, oh, you know, well, in my mind something dies and it comes back to life. No, think about it as a physical death. If something died in front of you, oftentimes reviving it is impossible. So think of it as that. The person you once were needs to never be revived again in order for you to have this new beginning. And it be such a jamais vu moment, a new moment. Like, it's a new beginning, but it's really something you haven't seen before. You have to understand what accepting change is, and accepting change gracefully and humbly in order for you to see that this new beginning is going to offer you a lot of change that you might have to accept humbly and gracefully, but it's going to have a positive and nurturing, enriching outcome. Okay? You have to... And look, this devil energy is returned to sender. I just naturally just dropped the cards, and that's kind of what happened. Okay, so then you have something that's happening after the witching hour. So oftentimes after midnight, after 3 a.m. If we're talking about midnight, it could just mean something that's happening overnight. If we're talking about the 3 a.m. venture, we're maybe talking about a spiritual attack that could happen around that time. So maybe an influx of emotions. You can see that a lot of devil energy is waiting to feed off of emotional well-being of others. So if you are on their feast list, you know, you're on the menu, then after 3 a.m. is probably when you're going to get this attack the most. Maybe it's going to impede your sleep, or maybe it's going to cause you to be emotional or something like that at this time. Or maybe your dreams are going to be crazy. But what I'm gauging more is like during the night time, where the spiritual upgrades are at an influx. That is when the headlights, the narrow light of what the divine wants you singularly to do, without the collective energies around you prompting you and pushing on you and empathetically attaching themselves to you to shift your perceptions and mind states and all this other stuff. You are isolated. And so it's easier for you to follow this narrow divine light. That's what we're getting by headlights, okay? Or maybe you'll be in a car with your headlights off, or maybe you'll be in a car with your headlights on and you need to turn them off. Whatever it is, okay? But just know it's going to end up in some kind of foreplay. Now, I'm not getting the actual sexual term here. I'm getting more so the beginning stages of something that could be pleasurable or could not be pleasurable. All right, it's really like, oh, it's a flip of a coin thing, but it's something of arousal, something to spark an interest, right? And it has everything to do with hacked accounts. I'm not getting physical hacked accounts. I'm getting more so the divine hearing how you respond to things, hearing how you orchestrate this experience, and the divine will then be giving you judgment. And that judgment would be whether or not you deserve the blessings, the prosperity, the consequences, the repeat cycle, whatever it is, okay? Because in essence, we're in a spiritual war collectively, right? We're in the astrological time of purging and releasing right before we start brainstorming and creating. Okay, so how do we do this? Cleanse our bodies, cleanse ourselves with herbs, cleanse ourselves with incense, cleanse ourselves with nature, I know some people like to have mud baths. They like to rub themselves in mud because it gives them a sense of wholeness and like full closure, but with Mother Gaia. You know, it's their own meditative thing. So like, yeah, do that. But just know that apologies may not be necessary here. I'm not getting that no apologies will be given. No apologies are necessary. Why? It was a divine test, and everyone can see that it was a divine test. You can ask your pendulum. Everyone can ask your pendulum, and it would be a unanimous, because we're seeing that the pendulum is more in the upright. It'll be a unanimous thing that apologies are not necessary because we were aware of the psychic attacks, the spiritual attacks, the warfare that was happening, okay? And something with a computer or Mac. This card always stumps me because this one, matched with the hacked accounts, usually speaks on fraud. So let's see. Are we talking about fraud here? Hacked accounts with someone's computer. Someone looking on someone's computer, something dealing with a physical computer. No. We're talking about SS. So maybe like a social security. Some like security? No, something more than security. Like trusting someone with like really private matters. Like a social security card or a birth certificate, or like your newborn baby to babysit while you're at work or something like that. Like something really precious that you are entrusting someone with. There's something about that here. And cleaning up whatever chaos that was instituted by the tower moment that was given prior to this. So there was some kind of tower moment that caused a delay of emotions. Now these emotions is what's stopping a divine masculine from being a divine masculine. Okay? That's this death and rebirth process. Once this Sunday relaxation happens, and am I gauging like an actual Sunday? No. It's a day of relaxation, a day of not having to deal with outside influences, so they can see what the inside influences are really telling them, so that this hate alert can be on reversal. Okay? And then instead of having so much hate, the hate's on chill. They can remove whatever constipation and blockages, because they can see that they were feeding themselves with stuff that would just back their system up, opposed to feeding themselves with stuff that would detoxify their system. So now with this hate on chill, they're able to detoxify. They have the shits, able to detoxify their system, right? But what then happens? Maybe a physical thief. What is that physical thief? And that's what we're about to figure out, because the day of relaxation is probably today. You're watching this reading. We're talking about divine tests and ascension symptoms and how we're on that path. This Sunday relaxation is probably today. You're probably, relaxing as we speak. So if that's the case, what's happening? Well, this Leo energy that is usually forthright and blunt, usually the center of attention, all about me, is kind of moving toward maybe it's about us. Maybe it's about us as a collective. For there to be a new beginning, there has to be more than one. For the life, we talk about creation. Adam couldn't just procreate on the earth by himself. If we believe Adam came first. So Eve is what is offering the abundance that is the reproductive fashion. The reproductive, obviously with the baby, but like reproductive of like happiness, of thrill, of emotions, of prosperity, like think of like a proper partnership. Like oftentimes when you want to go into an event and you need someone to host, it's your event, but you need someone else to, schmooze the event to make sure things are going well, you will call on a Leo. Because although the center of attention is them, they know how to make that center of attention, if it's in the healthiest light, about the goal. And the goal is the event running well because they did something well. So how do we do that? Well, we figure out whether or not this twin flame connection is a twin flame connection or a fake flame alert. That is what this new beginning and divine test is all about. We can see here that it is a twin flame connection, because that's what the new beginning is. If it was a fake flame alert, maybe we would get a repeating cycle card, or we would get a reputation in reverse card, because we're seeing that you are then returning to karma instead of moving out of karma. Okay, so in this healthy cycle, you're moving toward this divine love, but it takes purifying your emotions. It takes maybe contacting government authorities to handle other facets of your life so that this person can be involved better. Okay, so this person, this twin flame connection, can be incorporated in a better light than what they have in the past, because of what is separating these better days to come and this twin flame government authorities. I'm not getting that, there's a criminal crime here, but I'm getting that there's some kind of contract that has to be relinquished. Now we can ask the divine, are we talking about a romantic contract? No, we're talking about like a physical contract that deals with government authorities. So either you have to sign paperwork or documentation. Is it a divorce? It's not a divorce. Okay, so because then the divorce card would be here. The marriage proposal and divorce card would be here. So it's twin flame connection, and you need to handle someone getting out of a previous relationship. It's making things finite. Are we talking about possibly getting a house? Okay. Something to do with children. Signing off rights with kids, or child support, or what else has to do with children? Fitting the bill for kids, but you would have to do that anyway. So okay, so that's why we have this bank or credit loan that's costly, and someone has to remove this bold energy about themselves and kind of move in a creative light because of a baby. Because blue's here, but we talked about the blue healing baby. Okay, there's a costly venture with the baby. We're on the right track. Okay, there's a costly venture that has everything to do with the government authorities. No, someone's no longer moving in a vengeful light with this connection of the twin flames, because they saw something happen. So now the hate is on chill. Better days are coming, and people are emotionally purging. But this was a costly measure. It cost them a version of themselves. A baby? Maybe someone calling the baby. Someone who's artistic and doesn't really give off this orange energy that is usually alluring. And what we mean by orange energy is like this person is usually like in your face, is upfront and bold, like beginning cycle. Okay, so it's once this energy, this orange energy, is let go of. Ooh, boom, the orange energy is let go of. That's when this beginning cycle has commenced. You're in this new beginning cycle. Wow, this is so okay, don't need to know that. Someone's cooking in a kitchen. Pretty please. A Pisces. Grow the F up with a suicide attempt. Is a Pisces wanting to commit suicide, and someone's telling them to grow up. Like a family member of the Pisces. Is this masculine that was in the previous reading? The masculine wants to commit suicide and someone told him to grow up. Wow. Wow. And it's a divine fated occurrence. That's why it was in the reverse. Someone's in self-destruction mode. But that is beginning a cycle, and it seems like this self-destruction mode is actually freeing their mind. Like, it's pushing them closer to their destiny. Like, this suicide attempt is a blessing in disguise. What? I'm gonna end on that note, because I don't fantasies or dreams, so we just know that it's positive. Something positive is gonna happen once this person is like, I'd rather end it all than XYZ. Okay, there's an undercover op that is a compulsive liar, mental entrapment, self-destruction, earlier mid Wednesday, There's going to be some inner childhood healing. And on a Friday night, you live now, bell peppers may be involved. We're shifting realities. And we're shifting the realities to this new beginning, where this divine confirmation, where this divine fated love is supposed to happen. And that's happening as we speak. Right now. Wow. Blessings. All right. Okay. Until the next. I'll see you soon.